Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for all of you. I have on Zoom with me right now, Angelo DeCipio, and he is the host of Wrestling with the Future podcast. Hey, Angelo, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Slasher. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad that, we can make this happen. And I know you set me up with a couple of people, one being the living legend Larry Zbyszko, and I have him on Monday.
Larry's a great guy. It's funny. I've known Larry a long time, and he tells the same stories over and over again.
Yep.
But somehow, and I don't know, Scotty, I don't know how he does it, my friend, but he makes them sound new and interesting every time he tells them.
Nice.
He's probably been telling the same stories for pretty close to 40 years. I'm not even kidding. Probably 40 years. And they are as fun now to listen to as the first time.
Yeah.
But he's a great guy, too. Good
awesome.
guy.
I'm looking forward to it. He called me a couple nights ago to confirm and just to talk about some movies he was in or whatever. And, he told me the story about how he ended up dropping from, how he turned down The Hills Have Eyes, and he said he never turned down another opportunity again.
Yeah. Did he tell you that? A lot of people don't know that. He was supposed to be up for that film.
Yeah.
The Hills Have Eyes. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it would have been great for him.
Yes.
It would have been a great role for him.
Absolutely.
It'll do for him what Scarecrow did for Ken Shamrock.
Nice.
I'll keep my mouth shut. By the way, what's the language parameters here?
You're free. I have an explicit category that I can check when I upload, so we're good to go.
Okay. Because I'm Italian and I have a loose tongue sometimes. I'll try to maintain. Plan.
So the first question
Hi, Mama.
I got, and there's my mama
in the background. Hi, Mom.
Yeah, I'm visiting for the Easter holiday. I just got in this morning.
Hi.
How you doing, sweetie?
Okay, how are you, buddy?
Wonderful. I'll tell you what, Scotty's got a winner there. Oh, Mama, she's a cutie.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're quite welcome, dear.
So the first question I got for you is, how did you start up Wrestling with the Future, and what is this podcast all about?
I started Wrestling with the Future as an extension of my life in professional wrestling.
Nice.
I started out in wrestling like we all do. I was a fan. A little kid watching it, and I went to my first match when I was 7 years old. Hard to believe that, but it's true.
Yeah.
I was 7.
Nice.
I got to see Bruno Sammartino versus Killer Kowalski.
Nice.
When I was 7 at the Philadelphia Arena. Nice. My uncle took me there for my birthday, and it became like kind of a tradition. So the next time my birthday came around, went to the wrestling match again.
Nice.
Then I realized, hey, this stuff is on TV. I don't have to go to the matches. I can stay home and watch this. And so I started watching wrestling on TV and became a fan like everybody else.
Yep.
And when I was old enough, through high school, I did a little bit of work for some local promotions. And then I got lucky because I actually got a job working for a wrestling promotion. And it's like what they say, you never forget your first time. And it's a lot like what you do in the horror genre. It sucks you in. Yeah. And you become consumed by it.
Yeah.
And just like you love what you do. And I love what I did. And I became, I was a worker. I put up the ring and I sold programs.
Nice.
And I owned a promotion and I worked for a promotion and I was a referee. I trained with pretty boy Larry Sharp. May he rest in peace, the late Larry Sharp. I got to know Buddy Rogers. The great champion Buddy Rogers was a good guy, and lived not far from me. I live in an interesting area. You can find this I think you might find this interesting. I live in what's called Wrestler's Row.
Okay.
Within this 2 square miles, were people like Tom Brandy, King Kong Bundy, Jimmy Snuka, Don Morocco, my current neighbor, Kathy Fitzpatrick,
nice.
People like a big Slam Vader, Breaker Morant. Oh my God, who the hell else? The Samoans, Alpha and Sika. Pete the Duke of Dorchester Doherty was from here. It was like it was a who's who of wrestlers, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, when you go to the grocery store and you see like King Kong Bundy pushing a grocery cart, that's some funny shit.
Nice.
Okay?
Yes.
That was some funny stuff. 2 a.m, nobody at the Pathmark but me and King Kong Bundy. That was an interesting meeting because he had that grocery cart filled, brother.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was filled.
That's awesome.
I started out like a lot of people. I was a fan, and I got lucky enough to live my dream. And some years ago, about 4 years ago, I met a guy named Jeff Robinson. He's now the late Jeff Robinson. He passed away about 6 months into our podcast run. He and I came up with Wrestling with the Future.
Okay.
He had this funny idea. He goes, you do what you do and I do what I do. Why don't we get together and do it together? Let's put a podcast together. And I knew nothing about podcasting. I'm a radio guy. I knew that podcasting had to do something with a radio type format. But the whole introduction of video, that was different. Yeah. Because if you look at me, I have a face for radio. Okay? I'm not one of these. I scare small children when
right?
I got one of them faces, But I'd be great for one of your horror films because I could pull off a monster with no problem. So what happened was we started the show, and wouldn't you know it, it caught on.
Nice.
Yeah, Jeff used to call our podcast the little podcast that could. And it sure did. Our podcast caught on at big time. Jeff passed away on, you'll love this one, February 29th on a leap year.
Wow. Okay.
He passed away watching AEW Revolution, their first pay-per-view. And I actually didn't do a show for about 3 weeks because I didn't know how to do a show without him.
Right.
And so I took some time and I found another co-host who was actually a friend of Jeff named Dan the Man. We went from Jeff the Ref to Dan the Man. Nice. Yep. And along with meeting Dan the Man came meeting a guy named Benny Scala from Florida, hashtag Scala from Ocala. So you got Jeff the Ref, Dan the Man, and Scala from Ocala.
Nice.
It's a regular, who's who of nursery rhymes here. So, yeah. But we've had everybody on this show from Jimmy Valiant to Larry Zbyszko to Dominic DeNucci to, oh my God, to Ricky Steamboat. We've had, Cowboy Scott Casey, Eddie Mansfield. Oh my God. Vince Russo has been on the show.
Nice.
And a lot of people that had nothing to do with wrestling came on the show. We expanded to the point where we were getting non-wrestling personalities. Actors, actresses, television personalities, people from the world of sports and politics. So, it really kind of, it opened up a Pandora's box of what's possible. Right. Everything was possible with Wrestling with the Future because I could make it, Scotty, anything I want to make it. I could make it Wrestling with the Future of wrestling, or Wrestling with the Future of politics, or Wrestling with the Future of whatever the hell I feel like. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's how it started.
Absolutely. So, do you watch today's current wrestling product? WWE,
I do not. I can't stomach to do more than 3 minutes of it. I'm ready for a nap after about 3 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, Monday Night Raw has gotten pretty stale as of late. Like I can't watch it as much as I used to.
Here's what's frightening to think about. Right now, here's what's frightening to think about.
Okay.
You've got WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, and a slew of independent promotions who have television.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's local TV, they got TV.
Yep.
And that's important because even with all of that, wrestling still sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing to get excited about. I would love for someone to prove me wrong. But I challenge anyone watching this show right now.
Yep.
If you can tell me of a singular promotion, either large or small,
Mm-hmm.
that incorporates old school wrestling into its product, I will watch it.
Okay.
And I will watch it fairly.
Okay.
And I will judge it fairly. Because one thing that's missing in wrestling, Scotty, is wrestling.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
It's all, as they say, sports entertainment now.
Yeah. Princess Victoria, who was a legendary ladies wrestler.
Yep. Had her on the show.
Yeah. Great.
Yep.
She's a dear friend of mine, too. Great lady. She says she's got this interesting thing. She says, wrestling has not evolved into what it is. It's devolved into what it's become.
Right.
And that's really interesting from a woman who made her living, her full-time living in that business. And by the way, her career was only 2 years long.
Yeah.
But look at the impact that she had in that 2 years.
Absolutely.
It's remarkable.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it any better. So regarding having a podcast, what do you find being like the hardest thing about doing your podcast, and maybe what it would be the easiest?
The hardest thing for me, keeping a straight face. Especially, I have a wicked sense of humor. I really do. I have a problem. I got a real problem. First of all, I have a problem with authority. But the other problem I have is keeping a straight face, especially when I realize that the person's being serious.
Yeah.
When I realize that someone's being serious and it's funny to me, you'll find me doing this a lot. I'll cover my mouth because I'm like fucking busting up laughing. You know? I'm just pissing myself laughing. Right. That's the hardest thing for me, is just keeping a straight face. The easiest thing to do on a podcast is to let somebody talk. That's the easiest thing to do, because you can. Sometimes they say less is more. I don't ascribe to that because I like to talk, and I talk a lot. In fact, it's kind of a running gag. When I did, it's funny. You know, you and I have a mutual friend named Python.
Yes.
I felt so bad for Python because I took over his interview. Kind of like what I'm doing with you right now. But that's just like, I have this outgoing personality, and it's hard for me to contain my exuberance sometimes.
Yep.
And sometimes I get a little pissed off about the state of the business, and sometimes it's hard for me to contain my anger with the business.
Yeah.
But the easiest thing is just to let somebody roll.
Nice.
You know, I believe if you give somebody enough rope, they'll hang themselves.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep, absolutely. I agree. Yeah. So what guests have you had on your show?
Well, I mentioned a bunch of them. We've had, I'll go some non-wrestling people. I've had Noelle Benson, who is a woman's book author.
Okay.
It's an interesting book. She goes, "What Men Need to Know About Dating."
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, check that book out. I'll hook you up with Noelle.
Okay.
She's a very interesting character. She's a kook. She's a blonde. She's a kook. But she's a sweet lady. But she's a kook.
Okay.
But she wrote a heck of a little book. It's a great book. I want to hook you up with her.
Nice. Thank you.
Stephen Plym was a guest on my show and became a friend. Now, I don't know if you know who Stephen Plym is, but he's got a very famous client named Tiny Tim.
Okay.
Did a song called "Tiptoe Through the Tulips." If
Yep.
some of the old folks out there are old enough to remember "Tiptoe Through the Tulips," that Tiny Tim. Steven is a good friend of mine, and he was Tiny Tim's friend and manager for 25 years.
Nice.
Manager for 5, friend for 25.
Nice. I remember Tiny Tim was on an episode of Monday Night Raw. I believe he was embarrassed by King or whatever, and then Tiny Tim got the upper hand or whatever.
Yeah, well, he and Jerry the King Lawler had an interesting relationship. But Jerry and Tiny Tim liked each other a lot, and because they're both the same kind of person, they're both quirky, they're both kind of like. Believe it or not, Jerry Lawler's kind of a loner. He just kind of keeps to himself. He's not the outgoing guy that a lot of people see. He likes to, keep things low key, which I respect that. Tiny Tim was the same way in real life. He was and they two hit it off.
Nice.
I think overall, it was probably a great idea to use Tiny Tim on a wrestling show. He was custom built for stuff like that.
Yeah.
He would have made a great manager. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he would have. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, especially coming out with that ukulele. He could hit people. Every week he could smash somebody with a ukulele. Yeah. That would have been great. Nobody thought about, because he's dead now, but, you think back what woulda, coulda, shoulda,
Yeah.
But let's see, we've had Stephen Plym, we've had Noel Benson, I've had Anthony Scaramucci on the show. He was briefly worked for Donald Trump for about 5 minutes. For like literally 5 minutes. It wasn't long. I've had Korchenko, Korsita Korchenko on the show. Now, you don't know that name, but if I say to you Bounty Hunter Truckers, you might know it. He was a reality TV show. Okay. He and his partner used to go around as bounty hunters, but they drove, semi-rigs. Okay. Yeah, and he had a show, I think it was on the Discovery Channel or something. Can't remember offhand. A&E or Discovery. Good guy, really good guy. But I've had promoters on the show. I've had referees on the show. Nice. Tons of wrestlers. I've had a couple of people from England on the show. A guy named Robert Whitaker Johnson that's into the metaphysical, the spiritual, the psychic. We've had people like Mark Sotkin, who was a television writer, director, and producer. Right. We're going to have, actually, I'm looking at my calendar right over your head right now. We've got Jeffrey Mark coming on the show. Nice. A thank you to Python for that one. We've got, of course, Scotty McCoy. They're coming on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, the 19th. Yeah. And it's interesting because you're going to be on a great show. We're doing a salute to horror films that night. Ooh, nice. Yeah. So it's going to be you, Derek Long, and who the hell else do I have? I got somebody else coming on. Some other horror person. But we're going to have fun. We're going to talk about horror films. Nice. And yeah, it's going to be going. That'd be awesome. My friend Nikita Brezhnikov from the wrestling business actually represented a non-wrestling show we did. I don't know if have you ever had Nikita on your show? I have him scheduled. I didn't have him on yet, but I have him coming up. He's an interesting guy because Nikita used to be a Baltimore City police detective. Nice. He was a police officer. Nice. And I had him on a show that we did on the Kennedy assassination. Nice. Yeah. Didn't he manage Nikolai Volkov? He sure did. Yep. Yeah, and tag teamed with him on occasion, too. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he wrestled. Yep, that's awesome. Yeah. Ask him to tell you the story about how they met. Okay. It was an interesting story about how they met. Definitely. And what else? Let's see. Oh, my God. I mean, I could go probably in the next hour just telling you about people we've had on the show. I'm more interested in talking to talking to you about you.
Nice. What do you want to
How'd you
know?
become a podcaster?
Greg Gilbert, Python himself.
Right? The Python.
He didn't know that. I just told him recently. He had me on when I was really a nobody at the time, and he had me on when I was promoting my first book. And like I had my book published like in February, and he had me on like that fall. And he reached out to me, and I talked to him after the podcast, like the interview, and I said, "Hey, Greg, how did you get get involved in interviewing these celebrities? Like, how can I reach out to them? I think that's pretty cool. I would like to do something like that." And he said, "Well, I usually message them on Facebook or get their emails or whatever. But he said, if you want to get your start, I'll give you Victor Miller." That was my first one, Victor Miller. He set me up with him, and the rest is history. I had Victor Miller on.
Beautiful.
Yep, and like
that's
if you look
terrific.
at those,
it really is.
if you look at those interviews compared to what I do now, like it's night and day.
Oh, brother, you want to see night and day? Look at my first show, me and Jeff the Ref.
Yeah,
we were looking at the camera going, and now it's like polished. It's slick. It's got a look to it. We've got lights, cameras, action, the whole bit, right?
Yep.
But it's funny because I wrote a book. In fact, I wrote 2 books.
Okay.
And he didn't ask me about either of them when I did his show. But nice. I gave him a bunch of names and phone numbers.
Right.
Just like I did with you, I gave him a bunch of names because you know what? You have to pass on your knowledge, and that's what I believe. Like I gave you. People would kill for the list that I gave you.
Yeah.
There were some heavy hitters in there.
Yeah.
And, when you get around to getting Buff Bagwell on the show, just sit back and have a Coke because you don't got to do nothing but say, "How you doing, Buff?"
Nice.
And he'll take off he'll do the whole interview for you.
Nice. Yeah, I have to give him a call back.
Questions and answers.
Yeah, he never followed up with me on an interview date, so I have to message him again and I give him a call back and see about setting something up.
I'll tell you the secret to Buff.
Okay.
You got to be persistent.
Okay.
Because he's got a memory that lasts about 30 seconds. Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Straight shoot. He's a great guy, but his memory lasts about 30 seconds. But it's funny, though. He could tell you every match he was in. He could tell you what happened before, after, and during, but he can't remember what he did 10 minutes ago or what he had for lunch yesterday.
Nice.
Funny. It's the damnedest thing with professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it really is unique to wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
They are a strange breed of people. They could tell you what they did 20, 30 years ago, but they can't tell you what happened yesterday.
Right.
Or what's going on in the news around them.
Yep.
They're oblivious.
Yep. Absolutely.
They really are.
Absolutely.
They really are. So ask away, my friend. Ask away.
All right. So if you have any advice for people that are wanting to start up a podcast, what would it be?
Don't do it. Don't do it. There are right now, I'm going to throw some numbers at you. These are real numbers. And if you think they're BS, check them out. They're real numbers.
Okay.
In the wrestling genre alone, there are more than 500,000 podcasts worldwide.
Yep.
Just in the wrestling genre alone.
Yep.
Okay. In the news and sport genre, there are more than 7 million. Listen to what I'm saying. News and sport genre, 7 million podcasts worldwide.
Yeah.
That's off the chart.
Yeah. It's so easy to make one now.
Brother, I know everybody and their brother's got a podcast these days.
Absolutely.
Because you can do it from your kitchen.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing right now from my parents' kitchen.
Yeah. You got the same microphone I do, brother.
Yep.
Not this one here, but I got one right here.
Yeah, I didn't bring my stand with me. It didn't fit in my laptop bag, so I'm stuck holding it today.
Yeah. I love that mic. That's a great mic.
It really is.
I got the same mic. There it is.
Yep. There it is.
Yep.
Great mic.
Great microphone. This is, if you want to get into the podcast business, you got to get yourself 2 things. You got to get yourself a really good microphone, and and a really, really good computer.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a state-of-the-art computer, you're going to have connection problems, audio problems. You're going to have problems linking up guests from place to place.
Yep.
That's like serious. You got to have you got to invest some money.
Yep, you do. I spent about $800 between a microphone, a camera, and all the ring lights I have. Now I don't have the ring lights here because I'm not at my actual house.
Yeah.
But I have I have like 4 or 5 ring lights that were like $75 or $50 each.
I believe you.
Yeah, and then on top of that, my computer alone cost me about $1,500.
I have a 3-monitor setup where I am right now. I've got overhead lighting. I've got 2 tripod LED lights. I've got a $1,500 computer, a $400 computer, and a $120 like little notebook they call it. I use that for like quick edits if I need to. When I go live, I don't use any of it because just here I am and that's it. And I like going live a lot.
Right.
I used to record everything on Wrestling with the Future. But now we've branched out into Wrestling with the Future, the Psychic Realm podcast, Mob Talk. We do the Writer's Room, What's the Buzz? We do Talk is Cheap. We've got 6 or 7 different podcasts right now.
Right.
And everything is geared toward a specific audience.
Yep.
Wrestling with the Future will always be the flagship. Yeah. But at some time very soon, in fact, I'm looking behind you here. On April 28th, I'm doing my very last official Wrestling with the Future podcast, and my guest will be the one and only Missy Hyatt.
Nice.
On the show.
Nice.
But we're keeping Wrestling with the Future as our umbrella brand. And we have like all these other shows. There's so much to talk about, so much to do. More than just wrestling.
Yep.
And I want to talk about movies and television. I want to talk about politics and the world situation.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do more like edgy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make a horror movie.
Absolutely. So where and when can people that are watching this, when and where can they like listen to the Wrestling with the Future podcast?
You can find us every Tuesday and Thursday night at 7 p.m. Okay. We are always live on YouTube, Wrestling with the Future channel. Just go to youtube.com/Wrestling with the Future. There we are.
Nice.
And you can find us on Wrestling with the Future Facebook page.
Okay.
Also, you can find us on Facebook on the Talk is Cheap Facebook page. We're on Twitter, Twitch, Vimeo, Podbean. We stream our audio to more than 270 radio stations worldwide. That's a deal that I worked out with a beverage company. Nice. That I'm not allowed to say that. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to say their name anymore, but they are the people putting up the money for our overseas distribution.
Nice.
And we do have overseas distribution in England, Italy, Ireland, Germany, and France.
Nice.
We're also being distributed in Canada independently on I believe it is, and I'll tell you in just a second, on Skynet. I don't know what that is. Skynet, yeah.
Okay.
So, whoever's handling our stuff in Canada, and I think it might actually be Robert Whitaker handling our stuff in Canada, because he handles our stuff in England as well. Right. I think he's got our Canada stuff wrapped up too. Right. But we got, we're doing okay.
Nice. That's awesome.
But the question was, how what advice would I give? Is that what the question was? What would I give to podcasters,
Yeah.
don't do it. don't
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's a lot of work, man.
It is a lot of work. Like I have to reach out to clients, and then I got to book them, send them all the information, make the promo flyer. Then I got to, write up the questions, do the interview, edit the audio, extract the audio, upload it everywhere. It's like it's a process.
It is quite a process. I used to do here. I'm going to show you how old school I am.
Okay.
I did everything on Skype. Downloaded it, edited it for content.
Nice.
Insert my commercials. Time it. Right? Time it. It had to be an hour.
Wow.
Right? To get an hour of content, you know how much you got to go through?
How much?
To get 1 hour of content, I had to go through about 2.5 hours worth of show.
Oof. Yeah.
My shows used to run 2-3 hours, brother.
Right. Oh boy.
I could do 3 hours standing on my head.
Nice.
On a podcast.
Yep.
Go listen to some of our early shows.
Yeah.
I have one show lasted 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like cutting that puppy down because the whole thing was good.
Yeah, my interviews, they're not really that long. Usually between 15 to 30 minutes on average.
No, man, you're coming on my show. You're going to hang out with the big boys.
Oh, absolutely.
You better take a nap because you're going to be up for a while.
That sounds
you're
like a plan. You're
going to be up for a while, little boy.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. You're going to be on. Let's see, who the hell else is coming on with Scotty? It's going to be you. It's going to be it's going to be Scotty McCoy, Mike Messier, and Derek Long. Mike Messier is an independent filmmaker and actor. He just did a film called Mr. Birthday with Eric Roberts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
In fact, he starred opposite. Mike's a good friend of mine. He starred opposite with Denzel Washington and Meryl Streep.
Nice.
In a film called, what the hell was the name of that movie? Oh, fuck. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm forgetting your movie. You have to go look at Mike Messier. Do his IMDb's got all his credits on it.
Okay. Awesome.
Speaking of IMDb, Mr. McCoy.
Yes.
You're climbing up the ranks of IMDb, I understand.
That I am.
It looks good. You got what? You're in your 60s now?
Pretty much about that, yeah. And you're like my 260 something interview. I think maybe 250 something.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I've got 5 stations with probably more than 800 interviews.
Wow, nice.
If it's not more than 8, it's damn close to 8.
Nice. Yeah.
I've got everybody from John Gotti's Hitman to a man that claimed to be invisible to a guy who claims to create energy from a closet.
Nice.
You can't make this shit up. These are people that have been on my show, okay?
Nice.
We get them all here. Get them all here.
That is awesome, though. That really is awesome.
Yeah, we had a guy that claims to be able to build a closet called an orgon closet.
Okay.
And he created this closet, and he says that he can create electricity in this wireless, seamless closet.
Wow.
My question is, what source of energy do you use?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what he said.
Okay.
The human body. Really? You're going to create enough energy from the human body to create an electrical conductor? How is this going to work? I want to know. And he proceeded for the next hour to tell me how it works.
Right. Nice.
I don't understand any of it, but if you want to listen to it, it's up on our Psychic Realm channel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've got like a bunch of different, avenues people can check us out.
Absolutely.
We've got the Psychic Realm podcast, the Writer's Room, Mob Talk, Wrestling with the Future, Talk is Cheap, and What's the Buzz?
Nice.
Yeah. So we're around.
Awesome.
And my partner, my co-host, my partner in crime, Amelia Pitbull Chapman.
Okay.
I call her Pitbull because she's fiercely defensive of me.
Nice.
Very defensive of me.
You need somebody like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody disses me, I just throw Amelia on them. That's it. That's all.
Sounds like a plan. And I look forward to being on your show as well on Tuesday. I'm really excited.
You're going to have a good time. I think you're going to have fun.
I'm excited.
You're going to have, it's going to be a lot of fun. I enjoy anything different. If I don't have to talk about wrestling, I'm a happy camper.
Yeah.
Because I love talking about good wrestling when it used to be good back in the old days.
Yep.
But that's dead and gone and buried and never coming back.
Yeah.
You know, and I said to somebody, because they asked me the question, Scotty, they said, what would make wrestling better?
Right.
I said, if Vince McMahon walked away.
Yep.
If Vince walks away and lets his daughter and her husband take care of the wrestling business, you might have a shot at wrestling coming back again.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is not wrestling.
I completely agree.
It's fluff. It's bullshit. I grew up in this business, okay? I grew up in this business with family that were in the business. And I'm not going to mention whom, because everybody knows who my relatives are. But I will tell you that it's a sad thing to look back and know that you were a part of this glorious industry and now it's become a shit show.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a really sad thing to witness.
It really is. It really is. It's a shame. And I agree with you completely. I think if Triple H and Stephanie take over, because look what they did with the original NXT. Now NXT 2.0 is a joke.
You know why? Because Vince took over.
Yep.
He took advantage. Let me tell you what this son of a bitch did. Vince McMahon took advantage of his son-in-law's illness. And while Hunter was down, Vince took over and proceeded to, in one single bound, to decimate NXT.
Yeah.
And everything he used to have the Midas touch. Yeah. Okay. Now he's got the shit touch because everything turns brown that he touches. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's horrible. Yeah. It's horrible. You know. Absolutely. He was, and I said this before, Scotty, and I'll stand by this statement. I don't care what people say. Vince McMahon was ashamed that his father was a wrestling promoter. He was ashamed of that. Yep. That's why he has such contempt for wrestling. Yeah. You notice he doesn't call himself wrestling. It's sports entertainment. Yeah, I've noticed. Well, how about this, Vince? In case on the off chance, Vince, that you're watching Scotty and I. Here, I got some advice for you. Take the fucking wrestling out of World Wrestling Entertainment and just call it Sports Entertainment Inc. How about that, Vince? There you go. How's that for truth and advertising, fucker? How about it?
Awesome. Well, I agree with that. I mean, it is sports entertainment now.
How's that for cutting a promo?
There you go. And it is sports entertainment right now, and we do need the wrestling back. I mean, back to the days of Bruno Sammartino and Ivan Putski and, Iron Sheik and all that.
Ivan's been a guest on the show. In fact, I think I gave you Ivan's number.
I think you might have. I didn't go through all the list. I went through a couple of them.
And if you don't have it, let me know and I'll give it to you.
Awesome. Absolutely. I'm pretty sure I seen the name there. I was going to reach out, but I didn't get a chance yet. Yep. Absolutely.
You got a lot of stuff to go through, so.
Yeah, I definitely do.
So let me ask you a couple questions, then I'll let you go. Listen to me, I'm going to let you go. Sure show. So, you're in the podcast game now. What do you like most about podcasting?
I love interviewing the guests because they all have, even if they're in the same movie, like they all have different experiences and different stories to tell, and I absolutely love it. Interesting.
I have a task for you, young man.
Okay.
After we get off the air here, I want to hit you up for a favor because there's somebody who I want to get.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
The one person that I can't get.
Okay. Did I have them?
You might be able to. I think you may have access to this person.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
And I just got this funny feeling that you could get a hold of them.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
But I'll tell you after we're off the air. So you enjoy interviewing people.
I do.
Is it rewarding for you?
It is. And I make money off of this, but I don't do it for the money. I do it because of the enjoyment. Because if I made nothing off of this, I'm still doing it for the enjoyment because I absolutely love it.
I have a corporate sponsor, and I don't take a dime from them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't make a dime off this podcast and have not since day one.
Yep.
And I'll tell you why. Number one, I don't want to.
Yep.
Number two, money will corrupt the way I look at my podcast.
Yep.
Number three, my sponsor, this beverage company that I'm not allowed to mention, they do more for me in advertising than they could ever do for me financially.
Yeah.
I can't pay for what they give me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But if you're able to make a couple of bucks from it, then God bless you. But I don't. I can't make money off of something I enjoy.
Absolutely.
Then it doesn't become enjoyment.
The only reason why I make money off of it is because the platform I'm hosted on has you have ads on their site, and the ads generate revenue. And that's only the audio format, not the YouTubers. They don't make anything off the YouTube ones.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Yep. Ooh, it's windy out there.
We have a streaming platform called Podbean.
Okay.
That's what I use.
Okay.
And that Podbean platform branches us off into so many avenues of audio that it's frightening to think of. Think of Podbean as the head of the octopus. Okay. And its tentacles are everywhere.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine when I started that people in Dubai or Iraq would be hearing my voice.
Yep.
But I get emails from China. I'm literally, I'm getting emails from China, from Dubai, from Iraq, from Greece, from Italy, from Ireland.
Absolutely.
I get emails from, I can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
It's for real.
That's awesome.
I mean, I could make it up, but why should I make it up? I'm telling you the truth.
Exactly. And I think that's absolutely amazing.
So yeah, that's kind of like a nutshell of what wrestling with the future is. So let me ask you a question then.
Okay.
And now it's my turn because we're going to break Scotty's rule of 30 minutes. Forget that shit. We're way past that. Let me ask you, what is more rewarding, doing film or doing your podcast? I've seen some of your work. You don't know that, but I have. I've seen some of your work. You got some potential there, young fella.
Thank you.
You got some potential. You got an eye for horror for sure.
Thank you. Well, let me just say, wait till you see our upcoming movie that's in post-production, 72, because that is bona fide to be an absolutely amazing film.
I might be able to help you with some distribution stuff, too.
Awesome. Definitely. Carl Miller's the director of it and the writer, and he's also co-owner of my company. So definitely get me some names, and I'll pass them along to him, and we'll discuss what we think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Distribution is how you make money.
Yes, it really is.
That's where the revenue is, distribution.
Yep.
Tapes and CDs and DVDs and all that.
Yeah.
Happy horse shit. Merch.
Absolutely.
You don't get rich selling T-shirts for $20.
Nope. Nope, you don't.
You get rich selling DVDs for $18.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how the people want something they can hold in their hand and put in their machine. That's what they want.
Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
That's my forte, merchandising. Promoting. Yep. It's what I do best.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm here. I'm a big mouth. People listen to big mouths.
Yep.
Most of the time.
Absolutely.
That's when they're not telling us to shut up. But this was a fun interview. I enjoyed this a lot.
I absolutely did, and I thank you so much for coming on my show and joining me on this this amazing interview.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me just throw this out there for people.
Okay.
Let me set this out. Anybody wants to hit me up at wrestlingwiththefuture@gmail.com.
Okay.
Tell me who you are, what your qualifications are, what you're going to promote. I'll bring you on the show. Sight unseen.
Absolutely.
We'll bring you on here. You know, you got something you want to promote or sell, or you got a movie coming up. We'll bring you on. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And you can reach us at wrestlingwiththefuture@gmail.com, or hit Scotty up. He's got my contact information.
Absolutely.
Including my number. And if you need that, hit him up and he'll say how to get me.
Absolutely.
If you'd like me to be on your podcast, here I am.
Absolutely. I thank you so much, Angelo. It's been an honor and a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, my friend. You take care. And
you too.
Like they say, break a leg.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye.
You bet. Take care. Bye-bye.